Hey, welcome to this Command Modern Air Naval Operations gameplay video. If you love modern battle simulations, then don't miss a minute of what's coming up. Well, hey, welcome. It's time for the next tutorial for Command Modern Air Naval Operations. I think we'll just go ahead and jump right in, but first let's move that out of the way and rearrange my other. There we go. And what do you say we start the new scenario? And while I'm loading this up, hey, if you haven't subscribed, why not hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notifications so you'll know when I've uploaded another video. Like and share, and most especially, let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Okay, so we are in Basic Submarine Operations 1.2. We're going to learn about passive detection methods, collecting intelligence on contacts, the thermocline, and tactics for approaching surface contact. So we have to destroy a Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy frigate in your area. All right, well, I'm not going to read all of that. Let's just go ahead and jump in. All right, and this game is just odd. Okay, well, look at that. There it is, SSN 711 San Francisco. And we're off the coast of Vietnam, and I guess it's Hainan Island. And I still haven't squared away how things center. So we're going to start by taking a look at what's happening on the surface. Plot a northerly course, set your speed to creep, and depth to periscope depth. So let's see if I can remember how to do this. Let's see, select a submarine, F3. There's a northerly course, hit escape. F2. Creep is 5 knots and periscope depth. Now, I think what's really interesting about this is right here, when a submarine is at periscope depth shower, they automatically raise their periscopes and any other sensor antennas, which is fascinating. I wonder if that includes active radar. I mean, it's one thing to stick a periscope up. It's another thing to stick up the ESM. Radiating is another thing at all. I don't know. Let's see. Once we're at periscope depth, we have a much better idea of what's going on around us. We have to use the periscope to visually scan, detect electromagnetic emissions via the ESM antenna. On the other hand, submarine periscopes can be detected by specialized radar sets and ASW helicopters. Okay, that means patrol aircraft, ASW helicopters. I believe surface ships can too, or even spotted visually. The submarine itself can be detected visually if the weather and time of day are right. And thermal imaging can allow detection of submarines at periscope depth, particularly diesel submarines running their diesel engines. So, well, the next thing to do is let's go ahead and hit the start button and Okay, one thing I've learned is that the sound effects are very loud and don't talk during them or you won't hear a thing. You'll hear the sound effects. Well, okay, we've reached periscope depth. Well, no, we haven't. So it's showing 125 feet. That happened when I played this before I started making the video, so that's interesting. All right. We've detected contact versus ESM, which stands for electronic support measures. It involves passive detection of electronic emissions from other platforms. So, skunk number 2, but we don't have any other information. We just see it's out there on that bearing, and I guess that's an area of uncertainty. So there's a myriad of ESM sets ranging from rudimentary to extremely advanced. The primary limitation of the range is the power and characteristics of the emitting device. Active radars can be detected at roughly 1.5 to 2 times its useful range. So detecting an ESM contact often gives an early warning of the presence and general location of nearby platforms that are using active radar. Let's investigate this contact. It wants us to plot a course toward it. So F3, and let's plot a course. Okay, select the submarine, F3, course plotted toward it, and yeah, this is really, I may learn to love this game. but I am never going to learn to love the interface. I can figure out how to use it. Okay, all kinds of things happening. I've kicked it up to 2 times speed. We're getting all kinds of, if you look at it, all kinds of, got high frequency sonar and that radar. And the game's just muddling on. So what do you say we go to 5 seconds? Wow, it's just, all kinds of different. You can see is, it's pretty clear that based on multiple sensors, we're getting different ideas where this frigate is. Okay, as we close the contact, you may note that the area of uncertainty changes. This is because ESM is not a precise sensor. We can, however, use the San Francisco's advanced ESM set to identify the type of radar we're detecting. In this case, it's a square tie, which we can see. Radar, fire control radar, surface to surface. Click the contact report button. And we get a nice interesting set of information. Detected emissions, high frequency sonar, China type 352 square tie radar, and possible matches, a Luda or a Zhenghu 2. All right. At this point, only found on the Luda and the Zhenghu class frigates. If you want, you can classify the target friendly, unfriendly, control H, or hostile at this point. So let's go ahead and classify him as hostile. Hit H. Oh, got red. All right, we'll continue to close the contact. And you can see, depending on, and I'm assuming that depending on the type of sensor, what we're seeing is sonars and ESM and everything else, because we're seeing different possible locations and different areas of uncertainty, which is kind of interesting. Kind of busy, but it's interesting. And tempted to kick the speed up again, which is kind of making me dizzy. But hopefully we'll get to the next. There we go. Okay, we've positively identified the contact as a Zhenghu class frigate. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Go figure. If you've been following the instructions, it's been identified by the ANTB-16D towed sonar array. Really, if I've been following instructions. Let's see what. Yeah, okay, let's take a look at the message. 4:19:28 a.m. Contact FFG number 2 has been classified as type 053H1 Zhenghu 2, determined as hostile. Sensor ANTB-23BQ at estimated 10 nautical miles. Okay, get that out of here. Right. So, or even, well, it doesn't say anything about, well, we didn't see it with the Mark 1 eyeball. Okay. So we've been using all passive sensors. They do not emit energy. They merely detect energy emitted by the contact. These have been most useful sensors for submarines since they don't give away the presence or position of submarines. Trying to read through this quickly. Open a contact report menu again. Now we see that we have detected high frequency sonar, right? And let's see. Actually, it doesn't say that. It just says high frequency with our ANWLR9A acoustic intercept set. Really? Does it say that anywhere here? Not that I could tell. Okay. Whatever. Acoustic intercept sets are specialized form of sonar that detects active sonar emissions. It's kind of like underwater ESM. So, yeah, they've identified that using sonar. Fine. We check the database entry for the Jianghu. We see that it only has one sonar set, which is active only, meaning it only functions in active mode and cannot passively detect targets with a maximum range of 4 nautical miles. Since we're at periscope depth, it can't see the Jianghu anywhere on a clear day. We can safely presume it's more than 4 nautical miles away, and I can't read today. We can continue to close the periscope depth for the time being. That's the contact report. Let's see. Okay, we're showing it as unknown class. Okay, I don't really know what's going. Oh, that's much better. That clarified things a bit. Huh. I'm looking for. And here we go. This also tells us detected by. Oh, look at all the information in the database. If you're a data freak, if you like reading about these, these SSN 700 Dallas, Los Angeles class, flight 1, blah, 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 blah. Lord, there's plenty of information here. One gigantic database. Let's go ahead and continue to close, even though I'm not sure that I'm following along quite as nicely as I would like to. In other words, the pop-ups are telling me things that I'm having a hard time figuring out over there. Blasting along at 15 seconds. We ought to be within range to shoot here shortly. All right, now we're getting quite close to the Jianghu within weapons range, and coincidentally, we're also within visual range, which for a submarine at periscope depth is 8 to 10 nautical miles from most surface contact. At this distance, the Jianghu will not be able to detect us with its active sonar, but we will be able to hear it with our sonar, steer it with the periscope, detect any emissions from its sensors. Ensure you're at periscope depth and open the contact report. Okay. Well, here we go. Note that we can now detect not only the square tie radar and high frequency sonar, but also an eye shield air search radar, DECA 707 surface search radar, and sun visor fire control radar. Yep, look at all this stuff. Okay. The reason we couldn't detect those radars when we initially detected the square ties because they were over the radar horizon. Okay, so yeah, pause the video and read this if you're interested. So how did we detect the square tie? Simple, it's an over the horizon radar. Again, I understand that. I suspect if you're watching this, you do too. You can pause the video and read this carefully if you wish. Now within visual range, there's a small chance that the Jianghu could detect us by spotting our periscope. So we're going to dive below the layer. Continue on course, setting your speed to creep and depth to just under the layer. Okay, that is, we got to select the submarine, F2, and that's a nice setting. You don't have to figure out where the layer is, although you can find out, I think it says right there, layer's at 400 to 673 feet. Let's tell them we're going to go just under the layer and continue to close, which I'm really not closing right now. If we hit F3, there's a course to close. All right, I'm learning this game, huh? And yep, okay, now we're operating below the layer, which we are, which happens awfully fast. Also called the thermocline. The term we use are used interchangeably here. Now, this is a discussion about the thermocline of the layer. I'm going to suggest that you pause the video and read this carefully. What's important here is you can get precise information on it by looking at the information box, which is down here. So it's saying the layer is 397 feet to 669 feet, strength 0.6 convergence zones at 24, 48, 72, 96 miles local time, weather, no rain. That's interesting stuff there. Let's just move right along. As we learned in the previous tutorial, sound travels a long way underwater. It does not, however, readily cross the thermocline. That's information you need to know. Again, I'm not going to read this from beginning to end. Pause briefly. Read it. You'll learn something. All right, now that we're getting close to the Jung-Ho, we are getting to use the layer to our advantage. The high-frequency sonar it uses is particularly poor at penetrating the layer. So we are going to close right in for a demonstration. Remain below the layer and close to within 2 nautical miles. Okay. Well, I think that course will bring us, almost certainly will. We can set a different course just for fun and go. These are some kind of detection ranges for the submarine, or for the, I should say, for the frigate. And we're closing right in there. He doesn't seem to be moving. It's at 15 to 1. So are we close? Is he moving at all? He's making 5 knots. He's taking his time and thinking about things. He's hunting for us. I think my intercept course was a little bit too aggressive. Can I change that on the fly? Yep, sure can. Hit escape. Ooh, we're getting close now. All right. Now we're within 2 nautical miles of this Jung-Ho, completely undetected unless you're above the layer. This demonstrates how powerful the layer for submarines hunting surface contact. Bear in mind that we are hunting an old frigate with poor sensors and almost perfect environmental conditions. Don't expect to be able to do this against modern dedicated ASW opposition. So now we're going to show the difference between being below the layer and above. We're going to ascend back to shallow depth. You'll get a pop-up when you're detected, after which you may fire with torpedoes. If you're behind the Jung-Ho, you probably never detected as its active sonar only faces forward. In that case, you could either sink the Jung-Ho at the end of the tutorial, or for extra credit, drop back below the layer and sprint ahead at flank speed before popping up above the layer to see the desired effect. Okay, well this is bound to be just to show what happens when you're detected, because I cannot imagine we can't shoot from here. So what do you say we go ahead and hit, whoops, wrong key, F2. Let's come back up to shallow depth and continue. Oh, the frigate is detecting you. If it comes as a surprise you weren't following, we can now open fire. Okay, now, if I remember how to open fire, unit orders, attack options, engage target manual. And let's click on that fellow. We're going to allocate 1 target, allocate 1, and it allocated 2. Deallocate. Want to allocate 1. And that's the target. Mark 48s. Allocate weapons to selected target. Oh, if I allocate a salvo, that's what I've been doing wrong. Okay, let's, I'm learning something here. Deallocate. Let's allocate 1 weapon. I'm much happier now. That's been bothering me. And let's kick this back to 5 seconds. And then I'm going to get real quiet because it gets noisy now. Yep, 1 weapon. And you can see the frigate's turning away, trying to run. Good luck with that. coming up to 7 knots. He's up to 19 knots. However, that guy's at 65 knots. I just don't think it's going to help. You're just going to die tired. Thump! Excellent work. You made use of all your passive sensors to detect, classify, and intercept the distant vessel. Then use the thermocline to close in for a textbook attack. Well done. Okay. We scored 350. I don't know why it's 350. We used 1 Mark 48, which is cool. Finally figured out why I was launching more torpedoes than I intended, because I was launching salvos. And this is how we scored. Oh, I see. Weapons, thermoclines. Okay, we got all kinds of points for different things we did. Well, that's just awesome. Okay, well, that's been a lot of fun. Very interesting anyway. Hey, I appreciate you watching, and I'll have more. Let's see you again soon. Hey, thanks for watching. If you click on that picture of Very Young Waz, you'll be subscribed so you'll never miss another video. Then click on that bell notification button, and please share and comment. See you again soon.